Hey, it's Ryan with QLZ and the home version today. So running a little bit late this morning, so I came home and going to handle a couple interviews from home today. I've got my dog here, and if you hear any howling for anybody listening to this, it's just my hound going nuts. And we got Dakota. He's the lead singer of Another Day Dawns, and
Hey,
you and I chatted for a few minutes, man. You guys had some great singles that came out the last couple of years. You got the new one called Bitter that's out right now. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having the opportunity to have me on here, man. It means a lot.
Yeah.
And we've been busy, fresh once pretty much COVID cleared up and everything. We were ready to go on the road, and we have now a bunch of songs up our sleeves that we're going to be releasing. So
Mhm.
we're getting ready for the full effect now.
Yeah, so make sure you check the guys out. We'll talk about who you're touring with, all that stuff, because I mean, there's a lot of awesome things going on in your guys' camp. And
Yeah,
Bitter, we're going to have that on the Artist Spotlights this
nice.
Thursday, the 30th, 8:30 in the morning. So that's 9:30 for you guys out west or out east. But before I got going, man, I got to compliment you guys. So I saw you guys when you played with Tetrarch and Nonpoint and Atreyu when you guys played in Green Bay, and I got to compliment the shirt because
That's what's
like
up.
So like 75% of my wardrobe is obviously black t-shirts, as you can
Yeah,
see. You
yeah.
guys went with like
Mine too.
the camo on there. So kind of who came up with the camo idea for this shirt? It was like, hey, I'm gonna have a band t-shirt that's like actually has some different color on it
Yeah,
for,
man.
for once.
That's kind of what we all were kind of saying, man. We tour with so many great bands out there. Everyone just kind of has the same, like you said, black shirt, white logo kind of look, and it's kind
Mhm.
of we catch us being new to the scene and everything. We want to catch everyone's attention. We want to. So we had originally we have a couple tie dye shirts that were black and purple as well.
Okay.
That felt just as good. And then our merch designer said, "How about this design? A little bit of like a goldish vibe to it." Where I go, that is kind of nifty, and that sold almost right away, man, at the show. So we were really crazy how we're getting perceptive by that. It was cool.
Yeah, I was hoping to talk to you guys then. I believe Atreyu was playing at the time, and it was like you guys had just gone over to the table, and I'm like, oh man, there's no line for the merch. It's now's the perfect time to go over there, and it's going to be really difficult to try to have a conversation with any of the bands, while another one's playing. But good time to go over there and grab something, and it's a very comfy T-shirt. So if you're out, you see the guys, everything. It's a comfy. It's kind of elasticy, and it's
Yep.
comfortable. I'm a big fan of it.
It's we wouldn't put stuff up there that we wouldn't wear ourselves. I know
Yeah.
we push that a lot. Like you see our drummer, even I will throw on a shirt after a show. We're covered in sweat, and they're just comfy. They're really good. So I definitely would push them. They're good.
Yeah. Yeah, and buying merch is such a big thing for bands as well. So you guys are going to be out on the road here a little bit later on, but I want to chat about Bitter. It's the brand new single that came out. It's only 7 days old at this
Yeah,
point. I mean, if anybody's heard your guys' singles with "Forget Me Not," they know how heavy you guys can get. "Taste of Heaven," is a little bit more of a. It's still a rockin' tune, but it shows a different side of you guys. And Bitter's kind of just like, hey, we're just gonna kind of hit everybody in the face on this one. So
yeah.
I love the song, man. I love the hard hitting stuff. I don't shy away from it personally, but with this song and with us featuring it, man, what do you want to share about this tune?
Um, it's our first single that we've released in a little over 2 years.
Mhm.
Um, it's definitely well due. Our last single we put out was "Look at You," and it was kind of not as heavy, kind of more vibey of a track, which we just had fun with. And this song we wanted to hit hard for the playlist. We wanted to hit hard for Octane. We're pushing for Octane. We're pushing for the more just aggressive, more
Mhm.
kind of crowds. We're playing a couple festivals this year, so we kind of have, like I said, a bunch of songs, but they're not all going to be in your face that aggressive, and that's what I like about the album that we're going to be putting out. We have some of the songs like Bitter, and then some songs are just good driving songs and listening to. So it's cool to be coming out with Bitter, as hard and heavy as it is, coming out swinging, especially with the video. I don't know if you got to watch the video, but we have our good friend Max Portnoy. He recorded that for us. He's drumming for Tala and Code Orange currently, but he got some time to come on out. I think we went to an abandoned warehouse out in Philly actually, so it was a little sketch, but it was definitely worth it all, man. Like I said, it was just definitely just a fun time getting together, and I think the product shows.
Yeah, for sure. Again, we're getting it on here March 30th here on the Artist Spotlight, 8:30 in the morning. You mentioned the record. I know you guys have an EP out there. Taste of Heaven was on there. I guess had a couple singles. I guess first off, how's it kind of feel to release a single where you can actually like kind of tour behind it right away? I know Taste of Heaven was kind of like right before COVID-ish with some of the radio play and whatnot. You had Look at You, you had Forget Me Not, which I believe was released during COVID, and it's like, oh,
Yep.
we can't, play a damn show. We can't do a thing. So how does it kind of feel where, man, we can release this single, we can get out pretty much start playing behind it, right away? What's the feeling like for that?
It's definitely almost a dream come true, man. It's especially with the acts that we're going to be sharing the stage with. It's crazy to have that big of a platform, like you said, while a single's out currently. That's very rare for us. Like you said, COVID really took a huge effect on us as well. And so like you said, we're just kind of not keyboard warriors, but we were behind the computers releasing songs, doing live streams and singing. I didn't like that. I needed the face-to-face interaction stuff. So it's definitely a huge weight off our shoulders now that we get to see a couple thousand people a night while pushing this single.
Yeah. You mentioned being a keyboard warrior, at least in a good way, in a positive way.
Yeah, positive pushing.
So, do you guys have a release date for the record? Do you have any details you're able to share? Or is that still kind of under wraps at this point?
I think the record might be a little later in the year. I know the last I heard was maybe a June, July. But I think we're going to be focusing on singles. I know we got maybe 2 to 3 singles, and depending on how well they do, if they're climbing charts, we might have 4 to 5 singles we're pushing out. It's all up in the air with how the fans perceive it.
Well, make sure you listen to it. Make sure you stream it. We're gonna have it on the air, and you mentioned June and July, dude. That's gonna be here before we know it. That's only a couple months. So it's only a couple months away.
It's creeping in. Like it was all. We definitely were pushed for pressure and stressed on time with recording this. We had to go back to the studio a few times, and I just love the team that we're working with. We got Tom Hain and Steve Sopchak, who they were big writers and helpers with a lot of the recent Motionless in White stuff, and a couple other bands as well, that the same vein that we're from, because we're from the same areas and stuff. So we kind of like keeping it hometown supported,
And what are those home state bands you guys are hitting the road with this year?
Yeah.
Breaking Benjamin and Bush. Man, you guys going out with some heavy. Again, like I told you, when I saw you guys, you were Tetrarch, Atreyu, and Nonpoint, some phenomenal bands to go out with and share the stage with. And you think of the last 20 to 30 years, how many huge singles Bush have had for their 30-some year career. Breaking Benjamin now, I mean, like pretty much a 20-year career for Breaking Benjamin at this point. It's wild, and you guys get to go out share the stage with them. And how much you guys are looking forward to that tour? Where does kind of everything get kicking off at that?
Really, really looking forward to that, man. I've been looking up to those bands since I was a kid, so it's crazy to now just be the supporting act to them. It's I'm very excited to meet the guys in Bush and Breaking Ben, which we're pretty familiar with the guys in Breaking Ben. We had Aaron play on our last EP, Taste of Heaven, bass player of Breaking Ben. Because we didn't have a bass player at the time, so he filled in. So we're pretty close with the guys in Breaking Ben, which is really cool. They're all really good dudes, down to earth, and I'm just excited to. Like I said, it's our very first arena run. We've never done arenas before. I think there's 1 or 2 shows that aren't arena. I think they're just event centers, but to have an arena run in front of that many people, it's a dream for sure, man.
That's going to get a lot of people buying merch, so much more exposure and everything. I mean, and that's the thing, like, make sure you buy the merch when you go see these bands play, because that's such a huge thing for you guys.
It really is. Like, even we don't really get too much just for going out there. That's why it's an honor and an opportunity just to be able to open up for 30 minutes or whatnot. So, I mean, if we see somebody wearing our shirt that we never seen before, that's a huge, that's a win for us, So that's definitely cool to see people representing and helping us support, because that gets us A to B,
Yeah, for sure. It covers gas and everything else. And I asked, the question of our listeners the other day of, who are some opening bands? We do a daily Q question with us being QLZ. We do a daily Q question, and it was asking people, what opening bands kind of blew you away. And it's why it's such an important thing to get there for the opening bands, because obviously, people have hectic schedules, but it's why you never skip the opening bands. Like you guys, again, when I saw you guys with Trey, you guys were the first of 4 bands. That's, there's a pretty good crowd there in Green Bay for it. Because you never know where you guys are going to be 6 months from now, a year from now.
Yep, exactly, man. And the big thing is everyone started somewhere. So even the guys in Break It Ben and Trey, they all were opening acts at one point, 30-minute, 20-minute slots. So it's definitely, like you said, you got to represent and help support, because us being the band, we never forget who the ones were with us day one.
Exactly. That's why the support is so huge. And again, you guys going out touring out and everything else. And Dakota, I said I want to interview you guys at my last stop, and it didn't happen, unfortunately. But there were some questions I was asking any band, whether it was Lejeune, Seven Dust, or Miles of Alter Bridge, or up and coming bands like yourself. But when you guys go to shows, like as fans, I've always been really curious about this, because I'm not a musician. I just love rock and metal. So like when you go to a show as a fan, what's the experience like for you? Do you find yourself kind of just like, I'll get lost in the music like a lot of fans do? Or do you find yourself critiquing? Do you find yourself kind of being technical with everything? What's the experience like for you when you just go see a show as a fan?
Definitely, I just like being in the moment. I don't like being one of those fans that critique, because every night is different, and every night someone could slip up, someone could miss a guitar solo, or someone could hiccup during a scream, or you know what I mean. So I'm never one to be, oh, he didn't do that right, oh, you missed that. And I hope not too many people are like that with us, because we just like having fun out there, brother. So it's definitely and I feel like that live experience is something true. Then they're not lip syncing, or they're not, you know what I mean, relying on the tracks too heavy, because then you hear the normalcy of a human voice, and I love that, especially being live. So I kind of look for the mistakes to kind of being like, okay, it is live. This is what live sounds like, kind of, So I go into it open-minded for sure.
Awesome. I'm 100% with you on that, because it's like, hey, maybe there's a guitar squeal there that maybe they added in, or maybe somebody's ad-libbing something. Like that's the whole point of checking everything out live. And where do you guys like to stop on the road when you're out, you're playing around? Do you guys have certain places like, this place has the cleanest bathrooms, we got to stop here, or maybe we can grab a shower over this place? Kind of when you guys are out with Another Day Dawns, where's the places you guys like to stop?
Honestly, man, it's nothing too crazy, just because like I said, COVID's been opening up. We've only been out for a little bit now, but I'd say believe it or not, we'd have a lot of funds at the hotel rooms or not that we'd get booked at. They'd have like a whole gymnasium downstairs and a whole like gym. It just like brought us back to being kids throwing dodgeball at each other and stuff. So we'd be downstairs in the gym at 2-3 a.m. just chucking dodgeballs, and we'd be sore the next day for tour. So it'd be stuff like that. We don't really have a specific spot yet. I'm hoping for like a good breakfast or something, but we're always just up and at 'em, maybe around 10, 11. And then we like to do stuff like that. Like maybe we'll go on like a hike or something, but nothing too historic yet for the band. I'm waiting for that aha moment.
Yeah, dude, that works perfectly. I've asked this question, said probably like 40 to 50 bands. Nobody's mentioned dodgeball. So you're first one. So that works.
We pretty much had a whole gym to ourselves with every ball you can imagine, every hockey puck, we'd just be down there slamming our bodies and playing dodgeball for hours. That's what people think.
Dude, that's awesome.
People think we're out back partying, drinking. Nope, we're dodgeball.
Playing dodgeball. You guys are waking up sore for a different reason the next morning. I love it. So Dakota, dude, again, man, we have Bitter on the Artist Spotlight. Again, it's a whole feature about highlighting new bands, up and coming bands, and really just focusing on that song. It's for our listeners, 8:30 in the morning. If you're tuning in, 9:30 Eastern time, 8:30 Central, and people want to follow you guys, socials, all that good stuff to keep up. When the album's going to be out, tour stops, all that good stuff. Where can everybody follow you guys on the socials?
We're very active on our Facebook, Another Day Dawns, and our Instagram as well. We're constantly posting on there, and also our website, anotherdaydawns.com. But mostly our Instagram and Facebook, we constantly post out videos and, just little everyday to day stuff, especially when we're on the road with Breaking Ben and stuff. We're going to be posting regularly a lot. So those places for sure. Check us out.
Awesome. We'll give the guys a follow. Dakota, dude, it was great meeting you, man. I said I wanted to meet you a couple years ago and chat with you a couple years ago, but I'm glad we finally got to do it now, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, brother. It means a lot. Thank you for your support, for real.